Hey guys, it's Danny, and today I am doing a video on my least favorite Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes. If you guys know the video before this one, I did my favorite Jeffree Star eyeshadow palettes, and so this is going to be my least favorite, and then I'm also going to do a video on the palettes that didn't make my favorites or my least favorites as well, and then I plan on doing another video where I take all of my palettes and rank all of my Jeffree Star palettes and rank them from my all-time favorite to my all-time least favorite. So, and kind of give all of them a number, because in my favorites video and in this video, they're not in any specific order, so I thought it'd be fun after I showed all of them and like kind of told you guys about them, why I like them, why I don't love them, things like that, that actually doing the rankings. So I thought that'd be fun. So these are my least favorite eyeshadow palettes. I still like these palettes. They're still really good palettes. I just don't like them for whatever reason. And these aren't in any particular order. I just have them stacked here and I'm just going through the stack. First up, we have the Mini Controversy palette. This is the collab with Shane Dawson. This is the inside of the palette. And I actually like this palette a lot. The only reason it's in my least favorites is because I don't like this entire L shape right here. I only like these 4 shades right here, and this one kind of a little. I like this one because it can be used kind of, it's blue, it's like a very pale blue, but it can kind of, because it's so light, can be kind of used in place, can be used like in place of like a little bit of a white shade. But I don't like these two. I like these two blue colors, they don't make sense to me, and neither do these two colors. These 4 colors though, I absolutely love. These ones just aren't my favorite. But like I said, I still like the palette, and if you like this color story, I still suggest it. I just really only use these 4 colors right here, and sometimes this one. I don't really go so much for these ones. So that's why it's in this least favorites video. Next up is another mini palette. This is the Mini Breaker. This came out with the Jawbreaker palette. Looks like this. And this one, again, the shadows are good. Hot Fudge here is a really good shade. And then Double Scoop, which is this one, and Slice, which is this one, make a really cute little look, like a little monochromatic look. And Oral is really pretty. But Foreplay, which is this one, and Purple Punch, I don't really care for. Bubblegum and Bite Me are in the big palette. It's for me, this palette is kind of uninspiring because it just is. This palette doesn't really inspire me. I don't particularly love it. The colors are pretty. The shadows are decent. Purple Punch is a little patchy. And Foreplay can be a little bit too. But, I mean, the colors are good. It's just, if I took this somewhere with me, it's really hard for me to make looks with just this palette. I need other palettes, you know what I mean? It's kind of mwah for me. Next up, we have got Blue Blood. This palette is really, really pretty. But I literally only got this because I wanted the neutral shades in the palette. I only wanted the colors Cullinan, Crystal Flesh, Untouchable, Priceless, Wealthy, and Celebrity Skin, which are all these neutral colors. I didn't really care if I ever got any of the blues. Although some of these blues are very, very pretty. And they still have wonderful formula. Like, the formula is still spot on. The only one, Ocean Ice, is like glitter. That one I don't see myself ever using. It is stunning, especially when I swatched it. It was just beautiful. I just don't know if I'd ever wear it because I would just be afraid it would never ever come off. Because you know how it is with glitter sometimes. It gets everywhere and then you're finding it 3 months later. This palette I actually didn't buy. I traded some other Jeffree Star products I had that were new that I wasn't using, and then the person sent me this one, and the girl I swapped with sent me this. So I liked that, you know, but all I wanted was the neutral shades. And this was before the singles of some of these shades had come out, but even then it cost me less just to get the whole palette. So like I said, these blues are really, really pretty. I just don't use a lot of blues, so it kind of doesn't make sense, but I really wanted it for the neutrals, and I really like the neutrals, so. But again, the quality is still there. Like, all of these palettes are still good palettes. Like, the quality is outstanding. You know, they all blend really well for the most part, because there's always a couple, you know, there's always going to be 1 or 2 mattes that like are patchy, and the shimmers are still gorgeous. I just don't really use them. And then, like I said, with Blue Blood, it's a mostly blue palette, and I only wanted it for like the 7 like neutral shades that are in here. So, although the blues are still pretty. And then last but not least, my least favorite pile was a little bit smaller than like my favorites pile, because my favorite pile had 6 palettes in it. Oh god. Excuse me. And my least favorite had just this 4. And then, like I said, everything else kind of falls in the middle. They're not necessarily my favorite, but I don't not like them. Like, I don't dislike any of these palettes. It's just for one reason or another. Anyway, next up and lastly is Bloodlust. I love the packaging. I hate the packaging, but I love the packaging. Like, that's metal. But I love the shape. I like the velvet. I like the little metal piece. But I also hate the shape because it's so hard to store this, which is one of the reasons it is on this list. It's really hard to store. I would have much rather it been in a trunk like this and then still just did the velvet and the little metal emblem. I think that would have been just fine, and it would have been easier to store. This little thing also kind of doesn't help in storing it because it sticks up like a ridiculous amount. But this is the inside of the pouch. Also with the velvet, although I love it, I got a lint roll it every once in a while. I take a lint roll to it because like dust and like my dog's hair and stuff gets on it. But the inside of the palette looks like this. It is super, super pretty. And I love all the colors. I think the colors are beautiful. I haven't really used this too much. I've used it like once or twice. I've heard, I haven't used it personally myself yet, so I'm not talking from experience, but I have heard that the color Vile Serpent, this kind of green color, which is really pretty, I have heard that it is pretty patchy. But again, I don't know from experience. I have not used that color yet. Now, my biggest problem with this palette is it sucks to store it because of the size and shape. But also, I mean, the colors are gorgeous, but I just don't reach for this palette like ever. This is the one, if I was ever to regret one of my Jeffree Star purchases, it would be this palette. And only because I kind of had to talk myself into getting it. because I was like, oh, it's purple. I love purple, but am I ever gonna use it? And I was like, no, I'm not gonna get it. And then I was like, but I've been wanting to get more into using color. If I buy a colorful palette, I'll do that, you know. And I like talked myself into it, and then I used it once, maybe twice, and the colors are beautiful. They really truly are, especially like these like really wet looking shimmers. Oh, they're so pretty. But I don't use it like I like talked myself into like I would. I don't use it that much. So the colors are pretty. They blend amazingly. The shimmers are gorgeous. Like I said, I have heard Vile Serpent doesn't blend very well, but I personally have not tried that one yet, so I can't really say if it does or not. Like I said, I really do like the palette. It's beautiful, but I never use it. I mean, you know, I'm probably never gonna not depot it, but I'm probably never going to declutter it though. Because like I said, I love Jeffree Star's formula, so even if it's a palette that I only use every once in a while, I'm still gonna keep the palette because I prefer his eyeshadow for Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry. Because I prefer his eyeshadow formula. I'd much rather keep a palette that I may not use very often just to have for if I ever need that color. But I really do plan on using this more. But again, because of the size and shape, it's like always in the bottom of the drawer. So, I mean, that is my 4 least favorite Jeffree Star palettes. Like I said, just because they're not my favorites doesn't mean that they're not good. They're just color schemes I don't use a lot, or that I'm uninspired by, but I like individual shadows, or, you know, I bought for certain colors, even though, you know, it's like half the palette is not usable to me. But anyway, so I hope you liked this video. I know it was a little bit shorter, but like I said, this one did only have 4 palettes in it. I will be filming another video where I talk about the palettes that aren't in my top favorites, but also not in my least favorites. They're like in the middles that are really good palettes, but just maybe I like other ones more, or, you know, whatever. Or palettes that, you know, I may not like as good as others, but I like more than my least favorite ones. And then I'll do a ranking. So that should be fun. Alright, so that was my video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!